Hi Lekha, how are you?
Yeah, hi sir, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. Thank you. So can you tell me something about yourself?
Yes, sir. Myself, Lekha Arapuru. I'm a BTech graduate with 4.11 years of experience in software testing. I started my career with data consultancy services as a system engineer. So initiated as a functional test engineer and have worked for around 3.5 years and had a mix of functional testing as well as automation testing using Selenium,
Hmm.
BDD Cucumber framework. So we were using Java as the programming language and also got an opportunity to perform accessibility testing with the project. And later, I moved to Cognizant, wherein I was taken as a module lead. So initiated with all understanding with the application and the domain, and later on, I was taken to a project and where I was the module lead for the particular project, and we were performing the billing activity for the insurance domain application. And I was part of all the testing activities in the project from initial gathering to final report generation. So, and also got the opportunity to interact closely with the product owner, business analyst,
Hmm.
and other stakeholders. So, also have cross-functional interaction with other teams as well.
Hmm.
And I am an ISTQB certified foundation level tester.
Wonderful, wonderful. Fine. So now you are working as a module lead. Okay, so what are your roles and responsibilities as a software tester?
So that initiates with understanding the requirements of the user story, like whatever be the user story, we have to closely understand the requirements properly and without any guessing, we should initiate with the testing. So if
Hmm.
we come across any type of doubts or clarification related issue, we should immediately raise it according to the stakeholders or the respective team members.
Hmm.
And so from that, initiating with the requirement analysis and understanding of the user story. And next would be like preparing the test scenarios initially. And according to the test scenarios, prepare the test cases for different scenarios prepared. And this we have done it using Jira tool, and later once the ticket is ready for testing, with that time we'll prepare all the test data required for the testing and keep all those prerequisites ready. So depending upon the application we have to do that. And later on, once the ticket is ready, we initiate with the execution as per the test design prepared. And if we feel like more scenarios need to be tested once the um once the requirement is ready. So
Hmm.
if we feel like we have to add some more cases, then at that time we can refer with our BA and prepare more test cases there and get it reviewed and initiate with the testing. And later, once the execution is completed, we'll get all the bugs related with that particular requirement and create it accordingly with all the details, initiating with test bug ID and description, summary, and all those details should be as per the criteria that we have to follow. And once the bug is raised, we have to link that particular bug to the story that we are testing. And this need to be followed up, and this should be having a particular ETA, like when it will be fixed, depending upon the priority, we have to perform it and provide the results in the latest comment should be updated in the bug related to the initial analysis.
Hmm.
And the bug will be shared with the respective team depending upon the scrum master. So if the bug is not related to our team's changes, then it should be like assigned to the particular team from the other. So this will be decided by the scrum master if we are not sure about it. Or and once all the test execution is completed, we'll have the test results, and this should be attached with the story, and this need to be moved to ready for PO approval. And once the
Hmm.
demo is completed, this particular requirement or story will be closed by the product owner. So
Hmm.
this is so the test activities depends upon the application, the type of testing needed for the particular user story. So this depends upon the application. So
Hmm.
These are the test activities, or um, my daily routine happens
Okay,
as a
okay,
test.
great. So in this, what you can add is you can tell that you are reviewing the test
Mm.
cases that are written by your team members. You
Okay,
are assisting them with the feedback, and then they are updating the test case. So these kind of things you can tell.
okay,
The kind of review or providing some checklist during the time of release. These kind of things would be helpful
okay,
for you.
yeah.
Okay, now let me share my screen. So this is one of the scenario.
Mm.
So the screen is visible to you.
Yes.
So you are testing a mobile-based application and you find that the app is crashing when you're trying to upload an image larger than 5 MB. So what
Mm.
steps will you take?
So I'll check the behavior of the application by providing an image which is having a size at 5 MB and less than 5 MB.
Why less
And
than 5 MB?
whether it is accepting or not, like if it is
Hmm.
less than 5 MB, if it is equal to 5 MB, I think it will accept. But
Hmm.
to check the edge cases, I will check the
Hmm.
lower MB as well as with the range
Correct.
like 5 MB.
Yes, yes.
So I will check the
Hmm.
behavior and would cross check the particular scenario with the requirement shared.
Hmm.
So um, so I will also check the same application in the desktop, like whether it is accepting more than 5 MB or not. So if it is like accepting in the web application,
Hmm.
then I will also check the requirement that is I think in this scenario, like uploading an image, it should work both with like the functionality should work similar with both mobile as well as desktop, like web application, because size of the image does not change with the devices. So it might be an issue that happen with the mobile application. I will raise a bug stating all the scenarios.
Hmm. Okay. So, see, when you get this kind of question, so you came up with a very, very valid point that you will be testing with less than 5 MB, equal to 5 MB also, just to ensure that you are telling the development team the exact steps. But when you get this kind of an issue,
Mm.
so the very first thing that you have to do is to go through the FRD and BRD and you have to check the limit. So
Yeah.
first of all, you will ensure whether the limit of 5 MB is acceptable or not. If it is not acceptable, it will go as an enhancement. If it
Mm.
is if it is acceptable, right, then you will log a defect.
Bug.
You will reproduce the crash and you will document the entire steps. You'll include the size of the file, type of the file, whether it is a text file, whether it is an XLS file, XLSX file, or it's an image, right? So when you're trying to upload an image, so it can be PNG, it can be
PNG.
BMP, it can be JPG, it can be
Mm.
JPEG, right? Those all kinds of file formats you'll test. You'll also test with other file formats, as we
Okay.
were telling, like as I was telling about XLS,
Mm.
XLSX, then DOC, DOCX, and you'll verify that the exact steps with which file type it is crashing.
Mm.
You'll log the defect in the bug tracking system and you'll communicate the issue to the development team. You'll
Mm.
also raise this as a defect in your Scrum call and you'll
Yeah.
inform them that this needs to be fixed at the higher priority basis,
Mm.
right? And then
Yeah.
you'll determine with respect to different file types and image sizes as well to determine the edge cases or the threshold. So this is how the different steps that you will take. After the development team is providing you the fix, okay, then what you will do is
We perform the
you will
retest.
again do the retesting and you will
Retest.
perform regression testing that
Mm.
none of your existing scenarios have broken, right? So
Okay.
that would
Yep.
be your test,
Okay.
or you can say the steps. So this is how you have to tell in a real-time interview as well. You have to explain in detail.
Sure.
Now, let me go to the next question. Hmm. Now, is my screen visible? This is another scenario-based question.
Mm.
Wait, let me screen share again. Yeah. Now is it visible?
Yes.
So you are testing a banking application and you notice that the transfer amount field is allowing you negative values as well, right? So how would you approach testing this issue?
So yeah, in the real time itself, like we'll not be
Mm,
able to transfer a negative amount to
mm,
different accounts.
mm,
So first of all, the particular field should be like validated with all the field validations.
mm,
So basically, in a trans amount field, we should only accept numbers.
mm,
So special characters should be omitted. Like I'll check the design document created, and so it should not be transfer amount should not be zero. It should be
mm,
greater than a particular limit. So if for a particular bank there would be a minimum limit, or if that is there, I'll check for that.
mm,
And depending upon the field validation, I'll create the test cases.
mm,
And so for this particular issue, I will validate the bank application by providing I'll first of all create an issue for this particular scenario,
mm,
since this negative value should not be allowed. And also, I will also add some cases related to special characters for the same bug
mm,
as a description. And it should also not enter, should not also not allow to even enter the alphabets also. Like it should only allow to enter amounts, and
mm,
the limit also will be taken from the design document. So first of all, similarly as explained, I'll be creating a bug stating all the steps to replicate the environment which I am facing the issue, uh, and also the module associated with this particular scenario. And test ID I'll be receiving it once the bug is created, and also provide the necessary screenshots by entering the negative scenarios, negative value or negative amount in the field, and provide the screenshot. And uh, assignee, if you're aware of the assignee to share it with, so that also need to be like included for this scenario.
mhm.
um, Priority should be like provided.
So
uh,
what would be the priority and severity for this issue?
um, Severity is high. um,
Severity is?
uh, Priority should be high because this need to be like resolved as soon as possible. But severity, I think we'll not be able to proceed with the transaction. So severity, like amount will not be transacted from the account holder. So
Mm.
severity would be uh,
So the transfer amount field is allowing negative values, right? So this
yeah.
is something that for now you can live with. So as
No
you
person
mentioned,
will ideally transfer a negative amount,
yes,
right?
yes, the person will be able to transfer. This is a kind of a negative scenario. This is a kind of a corner case.
Okay.
Okay. So what will be the severity? What will be the priority?
Both should be high.
Both should be high.
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, fine. So let this be an open question for the people who are watching this video. You can put down the answers in your comment in the comment section of the video. What would be the priority and what would be the severity of this issue? Right. Okay. So once you will log the defect with the priority and severity, then what else you will do?
uh, we'll also have to add the
Yes.
sprint should be added,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and the version we have to provide.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to initiate with creation of the bug. And once the bug is assigned, we'll have to link to the particular user story.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have to have a discussion with like defect triage call should be made with the developer, and we should collaborate with the developer and try to understand the root cause analysis and perform the further steps.
Mm-hmm.
Like after the bug resolution, we'll have to retest it and provide the test results. And uh, we have to make sure that we are only able to send positive amount with that particular field and perform that end-to-end transaction should be completed. Also try to perform with negative amount, and it should throw some error stating that negative or zero amount or that particular limit should be crossed in order to perform a positive transaction. So I think these are the steps that I would
Mm.
follow.
Great, great, wonderful. Okay, so let me tell you the answer. Hmm. So the very first thing is you need to identify the expected behavior by referring to the functional requirements or user stories for the transfer amount field. Is
Mm,
that particular scenario? As this is a negative test case, so
mm,
is that been written? Is that been documented? If it is not been documented, then you will have a discussion. Okay.
yeah.
So you'll check the test cases that have been written by your team, or if you were authorized, if you were given this task of writing the test cases, then was the test case a part of your test cases or not?
Design.
Then yeah. So test case design, you will check it. Then you'll also discuss this issue with your leads managers and with the project management team, and you will ensure that what needs to be done. Once the discussion is done, accordingly, you will be taking up the next thing. So severity would be for this particular issue, it would be medium or it can be low. It cannot be high, right? Because this is not a blocker issue. This is not a critical issue. Your work is still going on because people will be entering the positive amount only, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is not a real time bug. So you can live with it. And then, but still, you, as from the end user perspective, it.
So priority should be high and severity would be low.
So severity also would be low, priority also would be medium or low. It depends on how much task your development team or you, your
Currently have.
entire team, yeah, is
Yeah.
currently having. If it is not the priority, it will not be taken care.
Yeah.
Okay. But if there is a bandwidth that people can fix this defect and you're not nearing the release time, why
Mm,
I'm telling not really nearing the release time, because if people are, if your release date is let's say in next 3 or 4 days, and and let's say you fix this, you take this defect for fixing, and in that
yeah.
hurry you introduce
Miss
some of the
something.
regression defects,
Mm,
right? Then what would happen is it's of no use
yeah.
because that regression defect will be more harmful compared to this fix, right? So
Mm,
you can live with this defect and you can make it fix in the next. So you are telling about the sprint. You will assign this particular defect to a sprint. So that particular decision can be taken based on the discussion that you are taking.
okay.
Okay. And once the defect is fixed, then you will perform regression testing, retesting, and those all things remains the
Mm,
same as is. Okay, great. So this was good. Now you are following an agile methodology.
yes.
So during sprint planning, you realize that you have overcommitted to the number of user stories, right? So let's say during the sprint planning, what happens? All the team members are sitting together and they are connecting with each other and they will discuss, okay, in this particular sprint, we will be shooting up for this particular number of user stories from development as well as from testing perspective.
Mm,
Now you, from your side, you have overcommitted to the number of user stories. You have told, let's say your sprint duration is of 15 days. You are already having 2 user stories on your plate, but you overcommitted by telling that you would be completing 3 or maybe 4 user stories in that sprint. So what would you do in this situation then? Oh, sorry. Answer is also visible to you.
so first of
Mm,
all, what I would do is that
mm,
during the sprint planning, first of all, we'll have to analyze uh, what is the effort that we need to have for a particular user story, like
mm,
initiating with the test scenario identification to preparation of test cases and further execution of the test cases. So considering all this, we'll have to give a effort estimation during the sprint planning.
mm,
So mm, if I already have two story tickets with me, which
Mm,
I have to complete as a like priority. So what I'll do is that, and if I have taken three more stories in the current sprint, first of all, if the first two stories are available in the initial days of the sprint, I'll start with the execution. And during the initial days of the sprint, I will try to execute maximum possible. So this actually depends upon the um, uh, toughness of that particular user stories. Like
mm, mm,
how many test cases are associated with the two user story that I'm currently having with me. So the number of test cases, the like easiness, like how complicated or complex is the scenario. So
mm,
these are the factors that would be considered. So if it is kind of a short story or a small story that can be completed within a day or two, I'll try to complete all those activities. If all the test design is properly available with me, the execution can be completed within 1 or 2 days or 3 days, depending upon the complexity. And I'll try to initiate with the test design. And so I hope in an agile team, we'll have the development and testing done on the same sprint, right? So during the initial days of the sprint, developers start performing the development activities. And
mm.
by that time, I'll try to complete all those two stories with my efforts. And I'll maximum try to complete with my allocated estimated points. And if I see any if I see any risk in completing that particular user story in the sprint, I would call out in between of the sprint, stating that this is taking more than the expected time. So I would request for an additional user story with all the permission from the stakeholders and after a discussion. So this would be my approach.
We'll request for an additional resource or a testing member,
Yes.
right, to assist you
Yeah.
for completing this task. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, correct, correct. So basically, let me show you. See, once if you have done the overcommitment, so then you'll reassess the priority, right? You have done the overcommitment. Now, out of those commitment, which is the priority? That priority you'll complete first. And secondly,
Mm.
yes, definitely have a word with your manager or with your lead and seek for the help. Ask them that
Mm.
somebody or resource who is available can assist you for maybe in executing the test case or maybe in designing the test cases. That's how you can get the things done. Okay, so okay, fine. This was good. Okay. Now, uh, how would you write the test cases? Any specific testing techniques that you are using to write the test cases?
So it depends upon the scenario. So we can perform it using boundary value analysis, edge test cases method.
Hmm.
So it depends upon the type of testing that we uh, follow.
Hmm. Okay. So any test design tech, I mean, any test case design techniques that you are aware of?
Um, Boundary value analysis we are performing, but
Hmm.
apart from that,
What about equivalence partitioning?
yeah, we'll also do that. That
Hmm.
means on regular, we'll divide the entire scenario into different intervals, and
Hmm.
we'll check that particular application behavior on a particular set of value, and also on a different set of value, not in the edge cases, but also with regular intervals of uh,
Yes.
yeah.
So regular intervals of?
Um, so if you have a range of cases like from 0 to 100, so we'll
Hmm.
properly divide it in 0 to 20, 20 to
Hmm.
40, 40 to 60. Like what is the behavior in these intervals? Like what is the application behavior in these intervals? Like
Hmm.
to validate the stability of the application in the entire range, we'll
Hmm.
also perform accordingly for the cases.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So whenever you get this kind of an question in an interview, what you have to do is you have to explain. about these test case design techniques. One is boundary value analysis, one is equivalence partitioning, error guessing is there, right?
Mm.
These
Error.
techniques you can explain in a very summarized way with one real-time example that you were testing, for example, some banking application,
Mm.
in that you took some text box and you were having some range. So you applied this test case design technique and you got a defect from that. So such kind of story-based answers would be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, what is A by B testing or what is split testing?
Uh, Sorry, sir. I am not sure that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no worries. So let me tell you the answer for that. See, in an interview, they might ask you split testing or A by B testing or bucket testing, right? So what is this? So it's a method in which you are comparing two versions of a web page to see which one performs better. Now, this can be
Okay.
from the UI perspective, from the UX perspective. You want to see some particular button and you will showcase that button to the stakeholders or to the client, and you will have a discussion with them that which one looks good, which one
Mm.
looks more realistic with
Okay.
respect to the requirement that they have. Okay, so you will be showing multiple versions. So here what happens is A by B. So let me share one more screen. Yeah. So this kind of image, let's say if you need the feedback
Okay.
from the customer, which button is proper, the buy now in red button, red color button, or buy now in green color. So that's an alternate. So two options you will show. So one is option A, one is option B, like that. And it is told as bucket testing or split testing or A by B testing. So you are testing to see if uh, which button would be useful from the user perspective, from the use case perspective, from the customer. And this is
Okay.
how you will get the feedback also from them,
Okay. So is
right?
it primarily into UI testing, like how the screen appearance
Yeah,
should
it,
look
it is
like?
more, yeah, it is more used for a UI UX testing, but at times it is also used for some kind of metrics or some kind of statistics. Let's say you have two web pages and
Mm.
there are multiple buttons and the
Okay.
performance of that particular page is lower as it is
Hmm.
more having UI UX components. So similar kind of things would
Okay.
be evaluated by this particular testing type.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Okay, so this is bucket testing. So it's a kind of an experimentation that you are doing.
Mm. Okay.
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 So
Bye.
yeah. Now, mm, so let's say you are working in a sprint,
Yes.
okay, and as you are continuing with your work in your current sprint, okay, you got a message or you got an email from your leads or from the managers that there is a critical bug that is found in production, and you were the one who were uh, you had tested that particular user story earlier in the earlier sprint before it went live into the production, before it was deployed to the production. Now, how would you handle testing your current user story of the current sprint and resolving this bug? So you have to make sure that your current sprint commitments are not being impacted, and at the same time this critical bug is also fixed and it is resolved. So how would you ensure that thing?
So, as per the scenario mentioned, it is a critical bug and
Hmm.
it was found in production. So
Hmm.
the priority would be definitely going to this particular bug. So I will have to do an initial understanding or initial um, testing I have to perform in my test environment where I have already done the testing before
Hmm.
this particular release. So I'll check the regression suite whether I have already covered this particular scenario and what was the end result which I have received during the regression testing. So that would be the first step that I'll be performing. And also, I will also have to check the current behavior in the application in test region for this particular scenario. And so considering the test results available, I'll have an understanding, and also with the test results there in the regression suite. So if it was working fine during the regression and currently it is like broken, or it was somehow missed from the regression suite, so this need to be like added to the regression suite in order not to have this issues in further releases. So this should be like captured in the upcoming releases. So that would be the first step I'll be doing. And mm, so I'll also create a bug in the test environment. The same bug that was created in the production, I'll also create a bug in the test environment with the steps to replicate, and the behavior in the test will also be captured in the bug created. And that should also have a user story, because that need to be fixed if it really happens in test region. And uh, if it only happens in the production environment and not happening in the test environment, then it will be due to some build issue or something. So this need to be taken care accordingly. And for that also, we should have a test region bug created for the same. And uh, we should have a triage call with a developer to understand more related to the same, and provide the logs to the developer for further understanding of the bug. We should provide the support to the development team and have a collaboration with them. And uh, so
Mhm.
we should provide the support to the team, and once the issue is analyzed and found, we should proceed with the further retesting and make sure that it is working in the test region, and this can be tested in the staging region or higher environments. So parallelly, we should also take care of the in sprint task accordingly. So this is my approach.
Okay. So related to the production bug, it was good that you will reproduce it, you'll see the logs, you'll observe, you'll analyze them, you'll
Yeah.
come up with the steps, and you will get it fixed from the development side. But what about your in sprint task? You had, let's say, one or two user stories which you had to work. So
Yeah.
you can also have a word with your test leads and manager, and you can
So
tell them,
priority, yeah, since
yes,
this came in between the sprint,
correct.
and we have planned the particular sprint according to the initial days. We are not expecting a production bug in between, right? So
Yes.
depending upon that, we have planned, and this came in between, and effort we have utilized for identifying the issue. So we have to properly log the efforts that we have utilized for this production bug, and this need to be reported to the scrum master immediately,
Mm. Mm,
and the stakeholders.
correct, correct.
So
So,
they will
yeah.
take up a next step on how this should be like taken, or if we
Mm.
have to take one user story from the current sprint to the next sprint, or however it is.
Mm. Yes. So very important is, see, the role of a tester is not only just to do testing, but it is also to communicate, to collaborate with the other members in the team. So what you'll do is you will immediately report the critical bug to the product owner and the
Product
scrum master.
scrum
Why?
master. Yeah.
Because scrum master and product owner should know that there is a bug that has come. So that is a priority. You'll
Okay.
work with the team to determine the severity, bug is critical, then prioritize above all the other tasks
Mm,
and allocate resources to fix it.
mm,
So a hot fix branch would be created, and the bug would be fixed in that particular hot fix branch only.
mm.
And you will be doing testing on that particular branch. Once you are thorough with the testing, then only you will ask the team to deploy to the production.
Production. Yeah.
Okay. And now, what about your current user story? So that you told sprint task continues in parallel if possible, but if it is not possible, so you will again update to the Scrum Master that currently you are already occupied with one of the P0 tasks. So any other task at the same time, it's not possible. So either you can move those tasks to the backlog, or you
Mm.
can reassign them to someone else so that that task are not being getting impacted, because you cannot be working simultaneously on the two things.
Yeah.
So that thing you will be doing.
Okay.
Okay, great. What is a retrospective meeting?
So retrospective meeting is part of an agile ceremony. So which happens at the end of the sprint. So the last day of the sprint, we'll have this meeting available. So before the meeting starts, we'll be provided with a retrospective board, where we can add our viewpoints related to the particular sprint. That is whatever. Which all actions went well, which all actions need to be improved, and what didn't well in that particular sprint, or we can provide the improvements that can be made in the upcoming sprints. What all are the achievements that we can speak about anything like in the current sprint depending upon the activities we have done. If someone in the team have done a great job, we should appreciate it in the retrospective meeting. So this is kind of a appreciation part which we would get, and we have to mutually understand and appreciate the efforts that the team have put forward for that particular sprint. And this is kind of a motivation, and also a place where we can improve ourselves in the upcoming sprints. So this will be like every team member have the opportunity to add their valid points in that board, and finally the scrum master would like consolidate it and add it to a part where it will be written like this should be like taken as an action item for the upcoming sprint, and we have to follow those guidelines like whatever we have discussed. It's an open discussion. We can provide our votes to the
Hmm.
points added by the other team members as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, what is the difference between test plan and test strategy?
uh, test strategy is something that is created from an organization level.
Mm.
So the testing activities that need to be like it provide all the high level activities that the testers should follow. It
Mhm.
depends upon the organizational level, and test plan is something that is created on a project level, like what all need to be considered while performing the testing, the resources, uh, the type of testing involved,
Yeah.
the area of application that need to be completed, the environment setup,
Mm.
in which all environment we have to perform the testing. So all those will come under the test plan, and basically uh, it's test strategies, an organizational level a document that we have to follow, kind of a template.
Okay. Okay. So let me share my screen. So if you get this question in a real-time interview, this is how you have to answer. So what is test strategy? So test strategy is
I can
how
start.
you would be testing it. So the strategy of testing, right? So it's again a document which will be designing the approach, the principles, and the goals. But if you see the test plan, it is a kind of a detailed document which will have which all resources would be involved, what will be the schedules, what will be the responsibilities for that particular project. So you will be defining in detail what are the test environment you would be using, what are the different testing activities that you will be doing. So that is test plan. Okay. So again, the objective is to define the principles followed during the QA test procedure. So whatever the QA test procedure that you have, whatever the QA activities you are going to perform, so you'll be defining the principles for that. So in the test plan, what you will be doing is who will be testing it, what you
Yeah.
need to test, when you will need to test. These all things would be it's more of a kind of a schedule kind of a thing,
Mm.
test plan. Okay. Then if you say the purpose of the test strategy is to have a high level testing from all the perspective, and the test plan it will give you the detailed instructions for the testing. Okay. So if you see the test scope of the test strategy, it is about the overall approach and the methodology that you will be following. But if you see from the test plan perspective, it is defining specific testing objectives and scope only, right? So test plan can be master plan, it can be specific level. And yes, test plan can also be changed. Test strategy can also be changed. It depends on what is your expectation from the testing. Accordingly, you will modify the test plan. You can also create a test plan for functional testing. You can also create a test plan for the non-functional testing, right? So those kind of things you have to with respect to test plan and test strategy.
Okay.
Okay, these are a few of the things. Uh, yeah. So one of the very important difference between the two, test strategy and test plan, is the direction of the testing that you have to perform, that you will get from the test strategy, in which direction you have to go, what would be the approach for you.
Mm.
But if you see the test plan, then it would include the scope of the testing, the schedule, the resources, the task, and the testing activities that you have to perform. That will be there in the part of the test plan itself.
Oh.
Okay, so that is very important. Now, okay, what is requirement traceability matrix?
So requirement traceability metrics is tracking document
Mm-hmm.
where we can track the user stories and the test design. Like we'll prepare a test design for all the user stories. So
Mm-hmm.
there are key points added in the acceptance criteria and the description. So depending upon that, we'll have to map the user story with the test cases we have prepared. So we have to provide the user story name, the requirements provided over there, and we'll have to map that particular test cases for the user story. So it should be like this document is maintained in order to have a like check,
Mm-hmm.
that is all the requirements are covered under our test design. So this document is named as requirement traceability metrics.
Mm-hmm. So, what does requirement traceability matrix do? So it provides a traceability between the requirements and the user stories and the test cases you have. So all the requirements should be covered by the test cases, so that
Yeah.
when you say that your testing is completed, you are making sure that you covered all those requirements one by one, right? So
Yeah.
that is the significance, that is the use
Mm.
of the traceability matrix, or you can say the requirement traceability
Yeah.
matrix. Yeah. Okay, Lekha, I'm done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Sir, I'm good as of now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.